guys and girls, I'm James and welcome to my channel. Today we're looking at a brand new drone just released by Holystone, the HS260, which looks very familiar because it does look like the 175 series that they just released two of. But this one's this price point on Amazon right now. And so Holystone's really been coming out with a lot of drones lately around this price point. They just released the mini-me of the 720, the HS440, which I really like. It's only $10 more than this one, but I enjoyed flying this drone a lot. Both of these are non-GPS drones, where the 175 series was a GPS drone. Just like the HS710 that they just released, that was my last review, and I really enjoyed flying this drone. Holystone's always made the best beginner drones. I've always liked their HS210. I've always said this is the best performing mini drone. Flies perfect at the price point. This is the best drone to learn the orientation of a drone on. So how does the 260 stack up against the other drones that are close to it? Well, so if you look, it looks just like the 175 series that they just came out with. So they came out with the 175 that had a 2K camera and brushed motors. And then they recently released, for just $30 more, you could go to a 4K camera with brushless motors. But this is a GPS drone, this is a non-GPS drone. What that means is this one connects to satellites to fly and this one doesn't. So this one's gonna be more reliable and more controller. They both have optical flow sensors on the bottom, but this one's brushed motors and this one's brushless motors. What does that mean? Well, a brushed motor is like two brushes or brooms spinning around in a magnet, constant contact, a lot of heat, and takes a lot of power, but they're very inexpensive to make. They still fly well, where a brushless motor is two magnets spinning inside of each other on a high performance ball bearing. A lot less friction, a lot less heat, but very expensive to make. That's why this one's more than twice as much as this one. So how does this one fly compared to all the other ones that it's against in the marketplace right now? Because at this price point, it's really close to the DRC, D10, and D50, which I really like. But let's go fly it and find out. But before we do that, let's go over the app and how to get it up in the air, and then we'll come back for a final review. So as with almost all Holystone drones, it comes in this really nice case, has a handle on the top, really nice zipper. When you open it up, I would keep this foam on here because it keeps everything secure. So you have the remote, your extra battery, your drone, and these two packages here that has your extra battery, your charger, which plugs in like this, and there's a light on here. It'll turn red and go off whenever it finishes charging. It takes about an hour, and you get about 15 minutes of flight time. These are your prop guards. They're very easy to install. I didn't fly with them, but if you're a beginner, you may want to try using these. And then it comes with the extra props, and you change it with the handy dandy screwdriver that it comes with in this package. And when you look at the props, they're labeled B right here and B right here on the arm. Make sure that you get the right ones on the right arms, or it will not fly because the angle of attack will be backwards. So let's see what she weighs in at. The 260 comes in at 139 grams compared to 215 for the 175D. So how much is that? Well, that's about the same weight as a wonderful, delicious can of sardines. So on the 260 and the 175, the batteries are the exact same size, but you cannot switch them out. Because this one, if you look, it is a 1700 milliwatt amp battery, and you can change that out, but the bolts are different. This is a 7.5 bolt, and the one for the 260 is a 3.8 bolt. And it's a 1300 milliwatt amp battery. So the battery is just a little bit less powerful, but half the bolts. So if you switch out those batteries, it'll burn up the ECU in it. So it comes with a really nice instruction book in many languages, but in English, because we're speaking English. You see this ISO, this is how you get the app. So open up your camera, and it'll take you to the app store, and it's HSFPVV4. Download the app. Once the app is open, you can open it up. So when you hit learn, it'll take you to a YouTube page that has some tutorials. So what you want to do, first of all, is turn the drone on by pushing this button. It kind of makes a really funny noise, like a cricket or something, as it's turning on. Then open up your controller. This flips up. Turn it on. If you look at the lights, what's real important, you want to go up and down, and it connects the controller to the drone. Okay, and then to set the gyro, the drone needs to be on a flat surface. When I go out and fly it, I accidentally had it on the brick, and it was flying horrible. It just kept wanting to go forward because I just set my gyro down where it wasn't level. So you want the drone on a flat level surface and pull both of these down and to the right. You see it blinking, and then it stops. So now the gyro's set and it's connected to the controller because it's not blinking. So you want to get out of the app, go back to your settings, go to your Wi-Fi. So then you hit Holy Stone, and once it's checked, you hit hold, and it's connected. Then you go back to the app, and you enter the device, and there we are. It's got it's a 1080p camera, but it's a really nice camera. Look at how it adjusts from the light to the dark. It really does a really good job. It's really bright outside. So I suggest the only thing you use on the app really is right here is to see where your battery is. Right here is to take pictures and video. This is to look at the videos, and then it has a hand gesture. This is to take off and land, but honestly, it's better to use what's on the controller. So how you unlock your motors is you pull down and in on both of them. That'll kill them. So if it starts to fly away or towards a pond or towards someone and you're scared, you can pull them back in and it'll stop the motors even in the flight. Or you can push down on both sides of this and it'll stop it. So right here is your takeoff button. But once you unlock the motors, you can just push up and it'll take it. This is very important right here. This is the high-low speed. As soon as you take off, always put it in high if you're outside, especially if there's even a little bit of wind. But in the beginning, you may want to keep it in low speed. And then this is your headless mode. Don't ever use that. And then on the top is where you push this one to take a picture and a long press on this one to start the video. Then on this side, this really works good. This is to move the gimbal up and down. So in the beginning, and I'll talk about this when I'm flying it, but you want to fly at line of sight. And then after a while, you do want to start learning to look at your phone and see where it's going. But like I said, don't ever have it go over 100 meters away because it is not a GPS drone. It does have an optical flow sensor right here on the bottom, this little blue light right here. This controller will move the gimbal up and down. So if you're wondering how I got that cool shot in the beginning, I mounted this Insta360 Go, which only weighs a few grams, on top of the drone and pointed it down. And it flew fine with it. This thing only weighs a few grams. I think the mount actually weighs more than the camera. So one thing I really do like about this drone is a light in the front, and then there's a green one in the back. Because when I was flying the 175, there is no light in the back. These lights are different on the sides, and these two lights in the front. But when it's away from you, it's all black and it's kind of hard to see which direction it's going. But this one makes it much easier having the green light in the back and the white light in the front. So let's go put her up in the air. Man, what a beautiful day to be out flying. You see the pond, there's hardly any wind. For the first time you fly this drone, be sure and take it on a day like out today, where there's hardly any wind. This is not a GPS drone. A GPS means it will hold its position. A non-GPS drone, it goes by the Wi-Fi of your phone, but it doesn't really remember where it's at. It's relying on you to control it. So if it's not a windy day, it's gonna be much easier to fly it for the first time. A little bit too big to be flying indoors. You might be able to, take off and let it hover around a little bit, but you're probably going to crash it if you've never flown it before. Just like on all drones, it takes a little bit to get used to the controllers and the way it reacts. Even if you have 100 drones, every single one flies a little bit different. So on the left up here shows the video. I'm actually holding it in this first video just to show you the video footage. I'll show you the pictures in a minute. It does not have a 3-axis gimbal, so you're not going to get this stable picture, but I'm just showing the quality of the camera if you did want to hold it. Also, the first time I took off, when I set the gyros, I set it on a brick and it wasn't level, and it just took off and I couldn't hardly control it. That was user error. You got to set it on a flat level ground for it to take off. Here's a video on the left now showing, see how it's kind of shaky on your gimbal? It's a really good, 1080 is a lot better than what people think it is. Everybody wants 2K and 4K, but all that does is take up a lot of memory. There's no memory card, so it records these videos to your app. So when you get done, you can open your app and then save it to your phone. So never bring it past line of sight. As I mentioned in the end, I had this drone and I tried to do past line of sight to see how far it would go. I had my son and he was going to watch it, but it just took off and kept going. So here's the pictures. Look at these pictures. So if you want to take this out on a family outing and take pictures of your kid's soccer game or the beach or something like that, I mean, those pictures are fantastic. So here I even took it out again, getting more and more used to it. So I didn't set my gyro this time on that brick, I set the gyro inside on a flat table. Every time you crash it, you need to reset your gyros. Every time you change your battery, you need to reset your gyros, and you need to reconnect it to the Wi-Fi. So you need to start your pre-start checklist every time you change the battery, not just the first time you ever go to take it out. So right there, I brought it right to the end of my line of sight. And when I bring it back, you see it takes a long time to turn around. A little bit underpowered, I think, is what it is, but that's actually good for a budget beginner drone. So just take it out. Don't be nervous. If this is your first drone, like I said, it's going to take a little bit of time to get used to the orientation of the controls, but kind of like driving. When you drive somewhere now, you don't think about it. You just drive there. You're aware of your surroundings, but you don't think about driving. The longer you fly this drone, it'll be the same way. You won't have to think about what the controllers are doing. You'll just think about where it's going, and you won't even think about what your fingers are doing. It seems like kids get it way faster than us old folks. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll give you my final review on this drone, and I'll see you in the next one. So thanks so much for watching my review of the Holy Stone 260. Like I mentioned when I was flying it, it does take a long time to turn around, so it has a lot of latency. Not in the controls, it responds really quick in the latency of the controls, but it does, if you're flying it aggressively, it does take a long time to spin. So if you're going really fast with this drone and you want to spin it around, you got to give yourself a lot of space. Maybe I should spend more time with it. Also, the fact that I tried to do a range test with this drone, which I shouldn't do with a non-GPS drone. I should never fly it beyond line of sight. I pushed it out to about over 100 meters, maybe up to 150, and it flew away. So Holy Stone was nice enough to send me another one, and I'll never do that again with the non-GPS drone. On a GPS drone, it knows where it's going, and so if you hit return to home, it comes back. Non-GPS, it doesn't have that memory. So don't ever try to do what I did and try to test the limitations of the distance of how far a non-GPS drone will fly. Try to keep it like within a football field, because really that's inside the line of sight anyway that you're supposed to do by the FAA. So how do I think it compares to some of the other drones? I think I like that 440 a little bit better, and it's $10 more, and I definitely, in this price point, I love the D50. I love the controller of the D50. I love the way it feels. So if you bought this and you're watching this, you still got a good drone at the price point. It's got packs a lot of punch for under $100. It's gonna be really hard for anything in the $300 range from now on with the DJI Mini SE released. So Holy Stone's really putting out a lot of drones. Their customer support is really good. So they listen to people, they try their best, and they're be competitive in the marketplace in these budget drones. And again, should this be your first drone? No, this should always be your first drone. They do make the best beginner drone in the market, the HS210, because this thing sits on 4 axes, just like any other drones. What I mean by that is all drones, they go forward and backwards, up and down, they roll left and right, and they yaw left and right. So the controller on that HS210 is just like the controllers of all the other drones. And so you need to learn the orientation of them before you put them in the air. It's safer for you, your drone, and anyone around you. So if you got something out of this, please like and subscribe. Subscribers mean everything to me on this channel, and I'll see you in the next one.